Hey everyone, welcome back to Reliable Prepper. Today, we've got a crucial topic on our hands. Common mistakes people make when disaster strikes. Whether it's a natural calamity like an earthquake or hurricane, a technological failure like an internet blackout, or sudden civil unrest that shakes your community, how you handle those first moments can massively impact your safety and survival. The reality is, those initial decisions are often the difference between success and failure in the early hours of a crisis. The way you approach the first few hours can set the tone for everything that follows. It's not just about surviving the first few minutes, but surviving the long haul. We're going to walk through each of these pitfalls one by one, dissecting them and offering insight so that you're fully equipped to tackle these situations head on. Understanding what to avoid is just as important as knowing what to do. And remember, if you find this video helpful, smash that like button, subscribe, and hit the bell to stay updated on all our latest content. Let's get into it. First up, let's talk about going into a disaster without a plan. Now, I can't stress enough how dangerous this is. When you don't have a solid plan, you're left to react, and that is a dangerous game to play. Reacting to a disaster, especially one that escalates rapidly, usually leads to panic, confusion, and mistakes. Imagine this scenario. The power goes out, roads are blocked, and there's panic everywhere. There's no clear direction on what to do next. Without a plan, you're just reacting to the chaos, not responding with purpose. That's when the serious mistakes happen. You might forget essential supplies, miss key escape routes, or end up in situations that could have been avoided with proper foresight. To avoid this, you need a clear practice plan that covers various types of emergencies. Where would you go if the situation escalates? How would you get there? What would you need to take with you to survive the first few days? Think of this plan like a blueprint for your safety and survival. Have it clearly in your mind, and better yet on paper, so when the time comes you know exactly what actions to take. You can stay calm, move with purpose, and be ready for whatever the situation throws at you. But remember, it's not just about knowing where to go, but also understanding what to do when you get there. Whether you're heading to a relative's house, a shelter, or your bug-out location, it's critical to have a plan for what to do once you arrive. Practicing your plan regularly, running through potential scenarios with your family, and doing full-scale drills are all important. You'll stay sharp, keep your family involved, and have the muscle memory you need to act when it counts the most. Next up, we have underestimating the situation. It's easy to think, oh, it won't be that bad, or it won't happen to me. That kind of thinking often leads people to neglect necessary preparations. And when disaster strikes, that lack of preparation becomes glaringly obvious. You might think you've got time to gather supplies, or maybe you believe it's just another false alarm. But by the time you realize how serious it is, it could already be too late to act effectively. This is why it's crucial to take every warning seriously, even if you've seen false alarms before. It only takes one time for a situation to be the real deal. Always stay informed, monitor local reports, and listen to experts in the field. Whether it's a storm, a wildfire, or a political crisis, take proactive steps to prepare ahead of time. It's better to be over-prepared than caught off guard, scrambling for resources or making hasty decisions in the midst of a crisis. Sometimes the most dangerous mistake you can make is assuming you're safe when you're actually at risk. If something feels off, trust your instincts and act swiftly. Getting ready before the disaster hits is far more effective than scrambling to catch up in the chaos. Moving on to panic. This is a big one. Panic is a natural human response to frightening or overwhelming situations, but it leads to chaos, and chaos leads to poor decisions. Panic can cloud your judgment and make even the best prepared person act impulsively. When you're overwhelmed by fear or stress, your decision-making skills suffer, and that's when mistakes happen that can jeopardize your survival. During an emergency, a single moment of panic can lead to actions that put you and others in danger. The key here is to practice staying calm, even in high-pressure situations. You might be thinking, how do I practice calm? Well, mental preparation is just as important as physical readiness. Mental clarity helps you assess a situation properly, make sound decisions, and take action without hesitation. Run through different disaster scenarios in your head, practice visualizing your response to chaos, and incorporate techniques like meditation, deep breathing, and even yoga into your routine. These practices can help you manage stress before a disaster ever occurs. You might even consider high-stress simulation training, where you practice survival tactics under pressure, so you're ready to stay calm when real chaos hits. The calmer you are, the clearer your thinking will be, and that can make all the difference when every second counts. Now, let's talk about ignoring the need for supplies. Many people make the mistake of thinking they can just pick up what they need as they go. But when everyone's thinking the same thing, supplies run out fast. There's no time to waste during an emergency, and you don't want to be caught empty-handed when things go south. Whether it's a power outage, a riot, or a natural disaster, essential resources like food, water, medical supplies, and batteries will be in high demand. If you don't have the basics stocked up and ready to go, you'll find yourself fighting to secure what you need, and that's not the situation you want to be in. So you need to stock up and ensure that you have enough of the essentials. That means water, non-perishable food, medical supplies, and power sources like batteries or solar chargers. But it's not just about having these supplies. It's also about knowing how to use them. Do you know how to purify water if it's contaminated? How to dress a wound properly when medical help isn't available? How to cook without electricity? Regularly check your supplies and make sure they're up to date. Your food should not be expired, and your medical kits should be complete. Always have enough food and water for at least 3 days, ideally a week or more. You need to be able to manage resources effectively and ration accordingly. Make sure you've got backup power options, whether it's a solar charger or a generator, so you can continue communicating and powering important devices like radios, flashlights, or medical equipment. One of the most overlooked aspects of disaster prep is communication. What happens if cell towers are down or the power's out and you can't get a signal? Relying on your phone as your sole means of communication sets you up for failure. If you're planning for disaster, you need a backup communication plan in place. Maybe it's a predetermined meeting point for your family, or using alternative communication methods like satellite phones or ham radios. These devices can work even when regular cell networks fail, and they're more reliable when everything else goes down. You can also establish emergency text systems or group chats that continue to work when voice calls can't get through. Being able to reach your loved ones or emergency responders can be a game changer in these situations. Communication is not just about convenience, it's a matter of survival. Don't wait until your phone's dead or the network is jammed to start thinking about alternatives. Plan ahead so that you can stay connected when it counts the most. Many folks fail to think about how they'll actually leave if they need to evacuate. It's not enough to know you might need to go. You need to know exactly how you'll get out. Are there multiple routes out of your neighborhood? What if the main roads are blocked or impassable due to flooding, fires, or traffic? These are critical questions, especially if you live in an urban area or near dangerous zones like floodplains or chemical plants. Your standard route might be gridlocked, or even worse, completely blocked. If you don't have a plan for alternate routes, you could be stuck with everyone else, scrambling at the last minute. It's also important to consider factors like pets or family members with special needs. Are there elderly relatives or young children who will need assistance during evacuation? Plan for these factors, and you'll save yourself valuable time and energy when the order to evacuate comes. Practice these routes, and make sure everyone in your household knows the plan. Be sure to factor in your mode of transportation, whether it's your car, walking, or even bicycle. When the time comes, knowing exactly how you'll leave and how to get to your destination will make the difference between smooth evacuation and chaos. Here's a big one: staying fit, both physically and mentally. In a disaster, you might need to move quickly, handle physical tasks, and manage a great deal of stress. It's easy to underestimate how much physical strength and endurance you need to survive in extreme conditions. But when you're forced to carry supplies, hike long distances, or even run for safety, your body's readiness will make all the difference. Keeping yourself in good physical shape prepares you for these challenges, whether you're running from danger, carrying heavy bags, or dealing with the physical demands of survival. But physical fitness isn't the only thing to consider. You need to stay mentally sharp as well. Stress, anxiety, and fear can cloud your judgment. And when your mind is overwhelmed, it becomes difficult to make sound decisions. Mental resilience is just as important as physical strength. Simple exercises, such as problem-solving games or mindfulness techniques, can improve your ability to think clearly under pressure. Mental preparation helps you stay calm and focused when the world around you is chaotic. By training your mind, you enhance your ability to prioritize tasks, manage stress, and make decisions that could determine your survival. Keep your body and mind in top shape. Regular physical training, meditation, and mental exercises will give you the edge you need when the going gets tough. After a disaster, there's often a rush to return to normal life, especially when the immediate shock has worn off. But rushing back too soon can expose you to ongoing dangers. While it might seem like everything is back to normal, it's important to recognize that the aftermath of a disaster often holds hidden dangers. Buildings might be structurally compromised, roads could still be impassable, and utilities might not be restored. There may also be secondary disasters like fires, flooding, or aftershocks that you didn't anticipate. The desire to return to your home or resume normal activities can cloud your judgment and make you forget the ongoing risks. It's critical to stay vigilant after a disaster. Wait for confirmation that it's truly safe to return home or to your normal routine. Don't rush into potentially hazardous situations. Take your time to assess the situation. Carefully evaluate the safety of your home or the area you're in, and ensure there are no immediate dangers. Secondary hazards can crop up unexpectedly, so err on the side of caution. If you have doubts about the structural integrity of your home or the surrounding area, take the time to get advice from local authorities before re-entering. It's better to be cautious and wait for confirmation that it's truly safe to return than to risk putting yourself and your loved ones in harm's way. Your home is your shelter during a crisis, and not fortifying it can be a huge mistake. In many disasters, whether it's a storm, civil unrest, or natural calamities, your home can be the safest place for you, but only if you've prepared it properly. Take a look at your windows, doors, and other entry points. Are they secure? Many people fail to properly secure their homes, leaving them vulnerable to damage or even break-ins. It's easy to overlook the weaknesses in your home, but reinforcing these weak points before a disaster strikes can make all the difference. Strengthen your entryways, reinforce doors, install locks, and secure windows. If you live in an area prone to hurricanes, consider installing storm shutters. If you're in an earthquake zone, seismic retrofitting could save your life. If you're in an area that's vulnerable to wildfires, consider fire-resistant materials for your home's construction. It's not just about keeping people out. It's about making sure your home can withstand the disaster itself. Make sure the roof is secure, the foundation is solid, and the windows and doors are properly fortified. Taking these steps now could prevent a minor disaster from turning into a major crisis down the road. In a disaster, accessing your money can be incredibly difficult. ATMs might be down, banks could be closed, and digital payment systems may be inaccessible. With financial systems disrupted, your ability to purchase goods or services could be severely limited. That's why it's essential to always have cash on hand, enough to cover a few days of expenses in case you can't access electronic payments. You may not realize how dependent you've become on digital systems until they're no longer available. Keep a reasonable amount of cash in a safe, accessible place, preferably in small denominations that will be useful when stores are still open or for small transactions. Having cash means you won't be left scrambling if the ATM isn't working or if credit cards aren't accepted. But don't stop there. Keep your financial documents secure and accessible. Important documents like your identification, insurance papers, and bank account details should be stored in a fireproof safe at home. And it's also a good idea to back them up online in a secure cloud storage system. Additionally, backup credit cards or prepaid cards are excellent to have in case your primary accounts are compromised. Having financial preparedness in place ensures that you won't be caught off guard when funds are most needed during a crisis. Don't underestimate the power of community. In many disasters, neighbors helping neighbors can be the difference between survival and struggle. A strong community network can provide resources, safety, and emotional support when things go south. Whether it's sharing supplies, offering shelter, or simply checking in on one another, a well-prepared and supportive community can weather a crisis much more effectively. It's crucial to be involved in local support groups or emergency preparedness networks, and if you're not already, make sure to get involved before disaster strikes. The more you invest in your local network, the stronger you'll be in times of need. Community is about more than just resources. It's about mutual support. Understand who around you may need extra help. Whether it's elderly neighbors, families with young children, or those with disabilities. By preparing together, your neighborhood increases its chances of bouncing back quickly after a disaster. During a crisis, you'll be able to rely on each other and coordinate efforts to survive. Whether it's pooling resources or sharing skills, such as medical expertise, security, or carpentry, working together can strengthen everyone's chances of survival. Emergency kits aren't set it and forget it. They need to be checked and updated regularly, at least every 6 months. Life changes fast, and so do your needs. Maybe your family has grown, you've gained a new medical condition, or you've acquired new gear that you now rely on. Whatever the case, it's crucial to regularly update your kit to keep it fresh and ensure it's always ready to go. Items like food and medicine can expire, and supplies might get used up without being replaced. In addition to basic supplies, consider special needs. If you have babies or small children, make sure you've got enough diapers, formula, and snacks. If you have pets, don't forget about food, medicine, and other necessities for them. Regularly check expiry dates, replace used supplies, and make sure your kit meets the current needs of your household. When disaster strikes, you want to have confidence that your emergency kit has everything you need to survive. So don't put off updating it. Make this part of your routine to ensure that no matter when disaster strikes, you'll be ready to go. Each disaster has its own unique needs and responses. Misunderstanding what to do during a hurricane, earthquake, or chemical spill can lead to serious problems. Educating yourself about the specific dangers of each disaster and learning the best responses for them is a key part of preparation. For example, during a hurricane, you need to secure windows, doors, and your roof, while preparing to evacuate if necessary. Earthquakes, on the other hand, require you to drop, cover, and hold on in the event of shaking. Knowing how to respond appropriately to each type of disaster can make all the difference in how you handle the situation. Prepare yourself and your family with specific knowledge about the types of disasters that are most likely in your area, and practice these responses regularly. When you're informed, you're better able to act swiftly and appropriately when it matters most. Also, remember to consider secondary hazards, such as flooding after a hurricane or gas leaks after an earthquake. The more you know about potential disasters, the more effective your response will be. Many people expect help to arrive quickly during a disaster, but relying too much on external help can be problematic. Emergency services may be stretched thin, and help might not come as quickly as you'd expect, or in some cases it may not come at all. This is why it's crucial to practice self-sufficiency. While it's important to be part of a larger network and have access to help, relying on others should never be your primary survival strategy. The truth is, when disaster strikes, you might be on your own for a while, and if you aren't prepared to handle it, things can go downhill quickly. Self-sufficiency means equipping yourself and your family with the skills and knowledge to manage basic survival needs like water purification, first aid, shelter building, fire making, and food preparation. Learning these skills gives you the confidence and ability to handle any situation, no matter how difficult. The more you practice these basic survival techniques, the more second nature they'll become. You won't have to think twice about how to purify water or bandage a wound because you'll already know what to do. Building a mindset of self-reliance reduces your dependence on others and increases your chances of surviving when external resources are limited or unavailable. The more hands-on experience you get with these survival tasks, the more prepared you'll be when it counts. Teach these skills to everyone in your household so that all of you are ready to face any challenge that comes your way. After disaster, the right insurance can be the difference between recovery and financial ruin. Many people find out too late that their homeowners, car, or health insurance policies don't cover certain types of damages. Maybe your home insurance doesn't cover flood damage, or your car insurance doesn't cover certain types of civil unrest. This is why it's crucial to review your insurance policies before a disaster strikes. You need to ensure that your coverage is adequate for the types of events you're most likely to face in your area, whether it's a wildfire, flood, or earthquake. Reviewing your policies in advance gives you the chance to make adjustments so that you're fully covered when the worst happens. Take the time to read the fine print and check for exclusions that could prevent you from getting the coverage you need. Update your policies to reflect the current value of your property, so if anything happens, you're compensated fairly. In addition to property insurance, consider reviewing your health insurance to ensure it covers emergencies related to disasters. Having the right insurance in place ensures that you're not left financially stranded when disaster strikes. Without proper coverage, rebuilding or replacing essential items could be impossible. Make insurance a part of your preparedness plan, and take the time to ensure you have comprehensive coverage for all potential disaster scenarios. And there you have it, 15 common mistakes that can seriously hinder your ability to handle a disaster effectively. These mistakes are all preventable with the right knowledge, planning, and mindset. Preparation isn't just about gathering supplies. It's about understanding the full scope of the situation, having a solid plan in place, and staying mentally and physically prepared to adapt to whatever comes your way. The more you prepare and practice, the better equipped you'll be when disaster strikes. Don't wait until the worst happens. Start planning today and make sure you and your loved ones are ready for any situation that may arise. The worst time to begin preparing is when you're already in the middle of a crisis. These 15 lessons are vital for ensuring that you have the tools, skills, and mindset to survive and thrive during a disaster. The key takeaway is that knowledge, planning, and practice are your most valuable assets. Be proactive now, and you'll increase your chances of not just surviving, but overcoming the challenges ahead. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with others to help them prepare too. The more people who understand the importance of preparedness, the better off we'll all be in the long run. Stay safe, stay prepared, and remember, knowledge is just as crucial as your survival kit. By taking action today, you'll have peace of mind knowing that you're ready for whatever comes your way. Catch you in the next video.